Hey guys, welcome to the Girl Take Note podcast with me, your host, Shaunie Sanders. Today we are having a solo show and it's really just about a purpose. Like I had a conversation over the weekend and it was all about your purpose. Like, how do you discover your purpose? Like we really got into this deep conversation about how do you know that this is your purpose? And I don't think anyone I spoke to about it knew the answer, because I think when you discover something for yourself, it's really something for you. You discover it. No one else can tell you how to discover your purpose. And for me, well, let me tell you, I was listening to Joel Osteen. I'm a big Joel Osteen fan. I don't know if everyone is, but I am. And he said something to me one morning when I was getting ready to go do my little daily runs that was so profound for me. Because you do wonder sometimes, and you say to yourself, man, God said, he would give us the desires of our heart. But how do we know that this is a God desire? You know what I mean? So, because I feel like your desire, your God desire is connected to your purpose, because it is exactly what God put you on this earth to do. And so he says something that if you have something in you that keeps coming back up, let's say if you're working, but yet you still have this thing in you that you're saying to yourself, man, I really want to start my own business. I really want to do a certain type of business. And then you'll try to bury it, right? But then it keeps coming back and you keep saying to yourself, why? Okay, I want to do it, but I haven't taken any steps to do it, but I keep feeling like I'm supposed to do something greater. That is your God desire. He said that's how you know it's a God desire, because God put that desire in you, which is why it can't go away. And that's how you recognize when it's God desire versus something you're just thinking that, oh, this might just be me wanting this. This might not be something I need, it's just me wanting to do this. But when you have a desire that comes from God, it is something that burns in you, that you just can't stop thinking about. And once you align yourself with that, then that's what your purpose is. And a lot of time, we was having a conversation about a lot of time people pursue things just based off financial gains, right? And everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to live a better life, be able to give their families a better life and be able to have a better life for themselves, But when you have something that is a God desire, it's not necessarily about the financial gains, because you already know that whatever God give you, you will reap the benefits of it. So it doesn't have to be like, oh man, I got to do this because I'm really trying to get this money. No, it should be something that, one, inspires other people, that can change the world for a better place, or just affect someone else and help them be a better person, and that's how you know when it's a God desire. But then now it comes to the thing where we talked about, okay, you have the desire. You recognize what that desire is for you, however that looks, right? Because everyone doesn't recognize what the desire the same, So then it comes to, how do you take those steps to get to where you want to be? And I think this is where a lot of us kind of like either push through or we fall back, because it is the steps that we got to take to build that business, to achieve that goal, to achieve that purpose. And that's where the hardship comes, right? That's where the real work comes. It comes in the journey, not the destination, because once we get there, we feel like, okay, we're on autopilot. Now I'm here, I achieved that. What can I do next? It's the journey that gets us. It's the journey that takes us through those emotional roller coasters and it lets us know, hey, either I'm going to be able to do this or I'm not going to be able to do this. But remember, when it's your God desire, you're never going to stop thinking about it. So whether you choose to say, I'm not going to do it anymore, becomes too hard, too difficult, you never stop thinking about it. It's always something that you can go back and say to yourself, you know what? I really wish I would have tried harder. Or I can't stop thinking about it. I think I need to try again. So you can stop. But understand that desire is not going to go anywhere. It's going to sit there and it's going to stay there until you do your best to achieve it. And so much in life, so many times in life, so many of us just don't achieve it, but we just still have that desire. It's just there, burning inside of us, but we never achieved it. We never tried to pursue it based out of just fear, or based out of like not even knowing how to start. And so it's the journey that gets us. You know what I mean? And it's the journey that would determine whether we're going to succeed at it or we're just not going to do it, or we're going to just let it pass us by. And I always feel like I'm a stickler that says it doesn't matter when you start. People always try to figure out, oh, I got to have the right time. I got to have X, Y, and Z lined up in order for me to pursue my dreams, in order for me to go after my goals, in order for me even to achieve that job. Because sometimes maybe your heart desire is just to have a better position at work. Not everybody is built to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody has that desire. Some people like working for companies and be established that way. And there's nothing wrong with that, because everyone, those type of people are needed in the world. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you need the people who want to work for you. So not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everyone, but it's the journey of being an entrepreneur and what kind of determines if you succeed at it. And I can be full transparency here. I know I've started things and I've stopped. And I've always said to myself, okay, if I stop, then maybe that's not really what I was meant to do. And then you think about, well, if I stop and I don't think about it again, then maybe it's not. But if I stopped and I still have this desire to do it, then that means it is something I'm supposed to do. And it might not be clearly defined in the beginning, right? Your purpose. When it comes to just doing something greater, you know, that desire just doesn't go away. And that's how you know that that is something you're supposed to do. And like I said, the desire can just be, man, I know I want to do something greater than just being at the job. Because for me, I'm working every day. But I always knew, man, I'm supposed to do something more than just this. And I didn't really know what it was. I couldn't define it at the moment. So I feel like at times our purpose is not truly defined just yet until we start taking steps towards something. You know what I mean? And it's like you defined it maybe on the way. You know, you might not see it clearly at that moment, but you know that I'm destined for something more than just this. Some people find that desires right away, like people who are like music artists or painters or musicians. People find their God-given talent right away, and that's their purpose in life. But then there's some of us who are entrepreneurs, when we want to do something greater, that it takes us a little time. It takes the journey for us to recognize what that is. You know, it takes us to try a few things and say, okay, maybe that wasn't for me. And then it takes you to try something else, and then you find your rhythm. You find that thing that is for you, that thing that begin to work, that thing that no matter how hard it gets, you're still going to pursue it anyway. You know what I mean? No matter how hard the journey is, you're still like, you know what? I'm not giving up on this. And that's when you know it's your desire. It's that God desire that He put in your heart that's for you. And I just feel like too often as people, we get so afraid to pursue our dreams, to pursue that desire that you have burning inside of you. That's going to be a positive impact on your life and your family's life. So let's not stop doing something just because the road gets hard. Let's keep pushing through. Let's know that no matter what, we are going to achieve greatness. And I just want us to be encouraged, you know, because sometimes you have to just encourage yourself. Like Yolanda Adams says, sometimes you have to learn to encourage yourself. You have to learn that on your journey, not everybody's going to be your cheerleader. Not everybody's going to get it. You know what I mean? And not everybody's supposed to get it. It's really not for everyone. Your purpose and your journey and the goals that you see for your life is for you. And everybody don't have to get it. I think a lot of times too, we spend too much time trying to convince motherfuckers of that, yo, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I'm trying to do. Here's my idea. And then when people down that idea, and when people doubt your idea, and then you start doubting yourself, you start doubting the things that you're trying to do. And it's like, why? Because this person don't see it. They don't got to see it. They don't have to see it. As long as you see the thing that you want to do, that's all that matters. That's why I like storytelling so much. I like knowing a person's story behind their success, because you get to see the journey that it took to get there. Too many of us look at the destination and think, man, I just want to be there. I can't wait to get there. Look at them. They did it. But you don't know the journey or the story behind what it took for them to get to that point. You don't know how many times they probably wanted to give up, how many times they felt like throwing in the towel, how many times they got, maybe they failed at it, or how many times they got rejected. We just see the end result. So we get so fixated on that end result when we don't understand that that's a journey to that end result. And that journey isn't always pretty. Not every entrepreneur have a very easy way of doing things, or just like, hey, here's the formula, just follow this path. I feel like some people formula is not the same for you. You know, it could be different for you. It could be either easier or it might be harder. You know, you never know, but you take the opportunity to do it, and you take the risk to do it because it's what you truly want to do. You know, it's what you see for yourself in your life. So we can't give up on things because they get hard. We have to know that when it comes to your purpose, it's something that's in you. And I feel like this purpose conversation is so huge, and it could go in so many different directions, because a lot of us are seeking our purpose. I think even though I'm here and I'm doing this podcast, I think I'm still seeking or pursuing my purpose. And I think a part of my purpose is being able to be on this platform, to speak life into people, to tell other people's stories so they can learn from that. But also, I think I have more to do. I think it just doesn't stop only with this podcast. I think it's greater things for me to achieve as well. I think the podcast provides a platform for me, not only for me to be inspired. Like, a lot of people understand when I have people on this show and I can hear their stories, I get so inspired by that too. Like, it motivates me as well to stay on my journey, because like I said, nobody's journey is easy. Not everybody has an easy way. The journey can be tough, and it can make you feel like, I'm not doing this anymore. I just want to give up on this. It's too hard. I don't have the finances to back me. I don't have the people to support me. I can't find the people, a team that I need to help me build. When you just have to continue to go even through all of that. And that is such key. You can't stop. You can't stop. You have to keep going. I realized with this podcast, I told everybody, I said, you know what? I don't give a shit if I get one listener. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to stop just because only one person is listening at this moment, where I'm like, it takes growth. Remember, I said growth comes over time. Progression is slow, but you have to be in it for the long haul. And so I'm not going to sit here and not keep doing podcast episodes simply because I couldn't find a guest to come on with me. I can hold down an episode by myself, like I am doing right now. Or people are not supporting me like I thought they would. That's okay. I don't need everybody to support me, because I know with this show and this podcast that I will create my own community of people who get it, who understand it, who will look for these episodes every week, you know, and they will impact their lives in a positive way, because that's what the goal is. It's to be impactful in the world and to change lives and to motivate people to pursue their dreams, not only through my examples of my life, but just through the examples of other women who have been through struggle but built something so amazing. And it doesn't matter what field it is. It could be a career that they built for themselves, or it could be a business that they built for themselves. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just being able to be inspired by other people's story. That's why the story behind the success is so important to tell. And you got to ask yourself, this is why I don't give up. I keep saying to myself, what's going to be my story? When it's all said and done and I'm at the finish line, right? I've reached the destination. I'm going to have such a story to tell of all the shit that I went through to get here. Because Issa Rae was right. Entrepreneurship means I did that shit by myself. You know what I mean? And in the beginning, before you have a team, before you have all these people working for you and this huge thing that's going on now that the whole world recognizes, it's just you in the beginning. You build up to that. You get people excited about what you have going on. You get people excited about buying your products, about coming to your store or buying your service, listening to your podcast. You get people excited about that. But I do know that sometimes it's hard to stay encouraged on a journey. And it's like, how do you stay encouraged? And for me, and you know, it might be different for everyone, but for me, I stay encouraged on my journey based off the simple fact that I just don't want to quit on myself. And I bet on myself 100% that I know I can do this. And it's your belief system. I believe in myself. And I've done things before and I've slowed down and I let them go, but I believe in myself, which is why I keep trying, which is why I keep going. And it's not easy to do. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to know that no matter what, I can count on me. If I can't depend on nobody else around here, husband, friends, parents, siblings, family, whatever, I know that I can fucking depend on me. I know Shaunie is not going to let Shaunie down. And you have to know that you are not going to let you down. No matter what this shit looked like, because I'm telling you, on this journey to building to chasing your goals or building your dreams, right? This shit can get very discouraging. And the one thing you have to remember is that if I can't depend on me, then who the fuck else is going to depend on me? If I don't believe in me, then who else is going to believe in me? You know what I'm saying? So you have to remember that you should never let you down. And I'm not going to let me down. I'm just not doing that shit. No, I feel like we all get to a point sooner or later where we know that, you know what, I don't give a fuck what's going on. And I have a lot of things going on around me, but I'm not letting nothing knock me off this track. I don't give a damn what it is. I just don't. Like, I come too far to give up now. And I know God has more in store for me. I know how he's going to bless people through this show. I know how he's going to bless people through my journey. So I'm not just going to give up on that when there's too much at stake. I mean, you think about what you want to achieve in your life. You think about how it's going to have such a major impact on your life, on the life of your children, of your family. So why would you stop if you know it's going to change everything? And when you look at people who are successful, that's their mindset. That's their goal. It's like, I got more people dependent on me. It's not just about me. It's not just about me chasing a dollar. It's about me changing my life. And then that changes the lives of the people around me. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to know that no matter what, I got me. I got me 100%. If nobody else understands what I'm doing, I understand it 100%. And I feel like that's such an amazing thing, because if you think about truly successful entrepreneurs, people didn't understand what they was doing. You think people understood what Bill Gates was doing? No, they didn't. You know what I mean? Any great innovator, any great leader, people didn't understand what they were doing. People didn't understand why they was doing it. But they knew why. And they knew they could make change in the world. So it's like, why would I stop? Why would I stop when I know I can create such an amazing product? I can create such an amazing business that will impact people. I can have a platform where people get to share their stories and impact other women, to share their stories, to understand that you're not alone. That's what this platform is about. The Girl Take No podcast is to show women that you are not alone, that we all go through the same shit and we are all here in this together. And so you're able to come to this platform and hear women's stories that are maybe identical to your story. And it's okay. No matter what that is. It's okay. You're not alone on your journey. If you see this woman whose story is identical to yours, and she overcame and she was able to be successful, just imagine how that motivates you. How that tells you not to give up, not to let go, to continue to depend on yourself, because she depended on herself when she did it. She wasn't dependent on everyone else. She depended on herself to do it. And that gives you all the motivation you need. So we have to remember that we are our biggest cheerleader. We are our biggest motivator, but also we are our biggest critics. We are our biggest downfalls at times. We are the reason why things don't succeed. It's not just the external things, it's the internal things why stuff doesn't succeed. You have to remember it's internal, not external. It's internal. Because although you get those rejections, although you get those no's and stuff like that, you still have to be willing to push forward. You still have to be willing to keep going. Too many of us give up so quick. And it's sad to see. You know how many people I fucking know that have such great talents that I wish I had, that don't want to do anything with their talents? And you just look at them like, oh God, you are just wasting your talents. You could be so much greater than where you are. But then I had to realize that, and I don't know if this is true for you guys too, but I had to realize that not everybody wants it in life. Not everybody recognizes their talents, no matter how many times people point them out to them. But not everybody want it, because not everybody's willing to do what it takes to get to that place, to get on that path of success and to achieve that great success that you want. Not everybody's willing to do it. So here you are working hard and pursuing your thing, and you're looking at other people who are on their journey, and it may look like it's easier for them, but understand that the journey is not easy for anybody. All of us wasn't born with a fucking silver spoon in our mouths, and wasn't born to rich parents who can fund your dreams. And if they fail, it's okay, because you still got money left over. A lot of us, the majority of us, were not born in that type of situation. The majority of us were born to working class parents, you know what I mean, who work hard for theirs, who instill that same work ethic in us, where some of us got it and some of us didn't. And my mother was a single mom, working very hard, working 2 jobs. My mom is a woman that didn't even finish middle school. But yet my mom was a woman who knew how to educate herself on certain things in terms of like technology and moving forward, to the reason why she was able to work her 2 jobs. She was able to go to school for nursing, support all her children, and show us what hard working looks like, and how it pays off. And no matter if my mom was known in the world, I had some big position in her company, my mom was a picture of success for me. She was that picture of success simply because she was a woman that worked hard. She didn't depend on anyone else to take care of her or her children. She didn't depend on any government assistance, and there's nothing wrong with those who have to have that. But she just worked her 2 jobs, and she took care of her children. She provided the best life she could for us. I had an amazing childhood, a wonderful childhood. Me and my siblings together, we might not have like the most, or the big fancy house and cars, but we had so much love and joy. And my mother showed that to us, although my mother was working a lot. And I used to look at my mom as just a woman of so much strength. And I still look at my mom to this day, because my mom suffers from dementia. And I still look at her as that same woman. And although pieces of her are being lost through her dementia, but I still recognize who she is. I recognize who she raised me to be, the kind of woman she raised me to be, the kind of strength she placed in me, the kind of strength she gave me through her wisdom, through her words, through her guidance throughout my life. And I still see her as that woman. There's a glimpse of my mom still there, even through the dementia. And dementia is a hard thing to watch a parent go through. And I don't know if any of you guys out there know what that's like, but to slowly watch a parent truly become someone else that you don't recognize, that don't recognize you at times. It's a difficult thing to watch, and there are times when I'm on the phone with my mom, and of course she knows my voice, and I tell her who I am, and she get very happy, and she say, "Oh, my baby," because I'm the baby of my family. And I hear her voice and I get so excited, because I was like, okay, this is my mom. This is my mom. And then there are times when she'll come in front of me and she'll forget who I am. She'll see me. And what's so crazy about that is that I look exactly like her. Like, I'm the only child that look identical to her, right? And she will see me, and then she'll sometimes forget who I am, because she was like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "Mom, it's me. It's me, Sean." And, but the strength that, it's a difficult thing to deal with, but the strength that my mother gave her children, especially her daughters, is something that, because I never saw my mom give up. Back in the day, like, our parents didn't show us their emotions a lot. Like, if my mom went through things, I never knew about it. If my mom cried at night, I never heard it. I never saw it. And which I know she did, because she was a single mom. We didn't have a father in the household. We had our fathers, but they weren't living in our household with us. And so everything was on my mom to take care of her children, to feed her children and provide for her children. And so I know there were times that she struggled. And I remember before her dementia really set in, she told me times where she was like, I had to put, like cardboard in the bottom of my shoes just so I can make sure my children have shoes. I went without a lot of things just so I know that my kids had, because I felt like I didn't suffer for anything. I didn't lack anything as a child. had amazing Christmases, which is why I'm so big on Christmas myself. And I felt like I had everything I wanted, you know, and I didn't suffer for anything, if you ask me. And I didn't know that my mom was suffering. And so, I mean, I got into this story simply because I want to talk about this, you know, the strength that she instilled in her children. And we saw her push on through her journeys, you know, through her hardship and whatever those may have been at that time. And I was able to see my mother like push through without a flip. You know, she didn't cry. I didn't see her cry about anything. She just pushed through. And my mother believed in herself, and she instilled that in her kids to believe in themselves. You know, and it's so funny. My mother always told me that, you know, if you want true success in this world, you're going to have to work for yourself. And mind you, my mother was not an entrepreneur. My mother was a woman who worked for a job for 30 something years, retired with a pension from both jobs. Right. But she knew that she still had that foresight to know that true success comes in entrepreneurship. You know, being able to own something. That's what you tell me. Have something of your own, to be able to own your home, to be able to own your business. That's where true success comes from. So my mother instilled that in me from a young girl. And so when you think about where your purpose come from, where your drive come from, mine came from my mother. My mother planted that seed in me from when I was young, that if you want something greater, you have to own something of your own. And I never let that go, which is why it pushed me to want to be an entrepreneur, to want something greater, to want to build something, a brand, a business, create a platform of my own, so I can have my own mark in this world, so people can know that I was here, right? And so that's where it comes from. So a lot of us do get that from our parents, and that puts us on the road to pursuing our purpose. You know, I think at that time my mother said it to me. She didn't know anything about purpose and, you know, pursuing your desires. You know what I mean? My mother just knew about working, but she knew enough for her kids that I want my kids to have something greater than what I had. And, you know, not all of us, you know, took that and ran with it, but I did. For some reason, it really stuck with me. It really did. And maybe it was the course of my life that I began to meet other people who were like-minded, meet other friends who were like-minded, and was saying, you know what, I do want a business of my own. I want to do something greater. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. I'm in fashion. I have one who's in music, you know, one who wants to be in management. So it's just like all those different things that you meet people throughout your life, and that begin to nurture that desire of entrepreneurship, nurture that desire of wanting something greater, because then you're surrounding yourself with people who are doing something greater. And you're just like, wow, look what they're doing. I could do that too. Look at what this person's doing. I can pursue something too. Not exactly what they're doing, but I can pursue something and have something great as well, simply because I have these examples around me that's showing me that it's possible. And so, you know, the circle you have around you when you're pursuing your purpose, when you're trying to build something greater than what you have, is so important. Your circle is important. The people you have around you, are they inspiring you to continue on your journey? You know what I mean? Or are they people who just doubt everything you do? And if you have the people around you that doubt everything you do, then you know what? You need to change your circle of friends. No matter how long you've been knowing this person, no matter how long they've been in your life, you need to change your circle of friends, because you want people in your life that are supportive. And I'm not going to say you have to change your circle of friends. What I'm going to say is that, because, you know, you have friends that you've been knowing for a long time, and they are who they are no matter what, and you love them for who they are. But then you don't have to share everything with them, because you begin to understand who your friends are as you get older, and you recognize, okay, I can't tell you this because you're just going to be a negative Nancy. You know what I'm saying? But I can go tell this friend this because she's going to be supportive. And she's going to be my cheerleader, and she's going to be like, yes, girl, you can do it. When are you going to start? What's the next steps? Those types of things. So you don't have to get rid of friends. You don't have to change your circle. You just need to know who you need to tell things to. And so, because you want to be around people who encourage you, who give you that positive reinforcement, because it's so important in life. It really is. And pursuing your passion, it's like without purpose, what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing? Who are we? So let's remember that our purpose is not attached to a dollar sign. It's not attached to a person. Indeed, your purpose is attached to a desire that God has placed in your heart. And you know exactly what that desire is. It's that thing that you can't stop thinking about. It's that thing that maybe wakes you up at night. You know, that you keep saying to yourself, I'm supposed to do this. I mean, it could be a person who loves to cook and they're like, I'm cooking all the time and I get so much joy out of it. And if you get so much joy out of it, then you know what? That might be something you might want to pursue. Because if it brings you joy, it becomes easy. And the financial benefit becomes easy because you're doing it because it's joyful to you. Not because you're only chasing the dollar. And I'm not saying the dollar bill doesn't matter. It does, but it's not your sole purpose of doing this thing, pursuing your goal. The dollars and the money will come. Do it because it gives you joy. Do it because it can impact the world in a positive way. Don't just do it for the dollar amount. I think too many of us get caught up in doing things. Oh, I'm just trying to make money. I'm just trying to get some money. Okay, that's great, but then that becomes short-lived. When you do something for joy, the journey, no matter how rocky it may be, no matter how many hills and valleys you may go through, you will still continue to do it because you enjoy it. It brings you joy. So let's not forget about that. Let's remember that what we do should bring us joy. Joy should be attached to it, and we're not going to pursue it just for the dollar. We are going to pursue it because it makes us happy to do it. And I know that's sometimes a cliche statement to say, but it's the truth. I do this podcast because this shit brings me joy and it makes me happy to do it. Whether I'm doing it by myself or if I'm doing it with a co-host or if I'm interviewing a guest, this shit brings me joy and I'm happy to do it. So let's remember that. And I appreciate you guys for coming and listening to these episodes, supporting my podcast. I really do appreciate it. And I really hope that you guys are getting something out of it on each episode, whether it's me by myself or me with a guest or a co-host. Let's get something out of this. I want you to be able to walk away from this podcast saying that, you know what? I learned something today. I learned something about myself today. That today I'm not going to let other people's judgment or critiques on my life stop me from doing the thing that I know I was born to do. So keep pursuing you. Don't listen to the naysayer. Tune everybody out. Your God-given dream and purpose is just for you. It's not for nobody else to get. Nobody else has to get it. And I mean, nobody else in your circle have to get it. You know, we don't have to seek the approval of our friends or family members. It's for you. And trust me, when you start pursuing it and you start putting it out there, you're going to see your community come around you of people who was like, man, I get what this person is saying. This person sounds like me. I like what they're putting out. I'm going to go buy that. I'm going to purchase whatever their brand is selling. I'm going to be a customer. Or I'm going to be a loyal listener. I'm going to be a loyal fan. That's all you have to do is pursue it and not worry about how other people feel about it. It's only about how you feel about it. Because like I said, you should always be able to count on you. You should always be able to depend on you. I'm Shaunie Sanders, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Girl Take No podcast. Happy Halloween. I hope everyone have a safe Halloween out there, and I'll see you guys next time.